Welcome, everybody. This is the second episode of The Brief. We are here with our account manager, Leah Anderson, who has worked in agencies for many years, but also has been brand side with outdoor startups and bigger outdoor brands such as Black Diamond Equipment. She works with a lot of our e-com, D2C, apparel types of brands, and I thought it'd be great to talk with Leah regarding Black Friday and Cyber Monday and what trends she's been seeing. So it seems like, obviously Black Friday has been evolving for decades, Leah, and I'm curious what you saw this year and how you've been seeing it evolve.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for taking time to chat with me about Black Friday, Erik. I think we saw a really interesting year this year. Black Friday, over the years, has become less about this 1 or 2 day event and really this whole month-long event, with promotions starting at the beginning of November and running all the way through Giving Tuesday, sometimes now even beyond. And from what I saw this year across multiple brands, even though these promos are running for a really long time, people are still often waiting to purchase until Black Friday itself or that following weekend. And the data shows that there was a significant peak in US e-com sales on Black Friday itself, another spike on Small Business Saturday. And I think as Americans, we're trained to wait to buy until the next promotional cycle comes around. And for many people in the fall, that is Black Friday. I think we're also seeing many brands continue to extend their discounts longer this year and in recent years since COVID. Maybe not at the highest tier of discount that they were doing for Black Friday itself, but many are holding sales that run all the way through Christmas now. And this could be part of a boomerang effect that some industries are still struggling with post-COVID. It could just be because people are psyched about the deals. But yeah, that's something that we're definitely seeing. And another interesting thing, though, this year was that the average discount was only around 21%. So that's not talking a huge discount that's any bigger than a Labor Day sale, a Memorial Day sale, or any other kind of key promo cycles that brands see. But a lot of these brands we know rely heavily on this last buying period in Q4 to boost their sales before they close their books for the year.
Totally. I mean, that all tracks to what I was seeing, and it's interesting, right? I wasn't quite sure how this cycle was going to do this year, given how much how crazy the world has been recently, right? We've got all sorts of economic perceptions that people are fighting about whether they're real or not. We have an election cycle, which traditionally is caused things to be a little bit in flux with, are people going to hold back and see what happens? Are people motivated by the election? But it sounds like what I saw, that the results came back really strong this year. What did you see?
Yeah, absolutely. So despite this weird kind of economic year for all of the reasons that you said, this was actually a record-setting year for Black Friday promotions, bringing in $41.1 billion in online sales. You talked about how this year was different. It was an election year, and everything that happens around that with the economy. But one key thing I think that drove some of these record-setting days was that Black Friday fell a week later than normal. And it coincided with a payday. So many people had a shorter time window to purchase their gifts, which created a frenzy, or any holiday type shopping that they're doing. And they had more free income to be able to spend because they were getting paid on that Friday, versus sometimes people don't have extra cash that day because they're waiting for the next week when their paycheck comes. So a few different outside of the norm factors that may have sparked this really high sales year. But we're also seeing numbers coming in like a 16% growth in online sales, possibly up to a 31% rise in in-store purchases year over year, which was surprising to me because I was wondering, people aren't waiting in line outside Best Buy anymore for these huge doorbuster deals on TVs, are they? But people still are shopping in store, which was interesting to see. And then for online transactions specifically, we're seeing some reports saying that the cart sizes, so the average order value of people shopping online, was up to 4 times larger than those purchases people were making in store. I think it's also worth noting that Cyber Monday itself set a record for online spending in the US in a single day this year. So despite all of that kind of uncertainty leading into this holiday shopping season, people were still ready to spend, and the data shows that.
Yeah, and especially in our work where we're working with brands that are more focused on the planet and sustainability, dollars aren't always the only factor or even the biggest factor. So what did you see this year with some of the mission-driven companies? What were they doing to kind of get the awareness out, get conversion up without promoting overconsumption?
Yeah. So as we talked about, Black Friday was historically a one-day event that's kind of morphed into this really much longer time period and really pushing overconsumption. Like brands want want consumers to buy. But as we've become so digital, and I think shoppers are becoming more savvy, they're really looking for authenticity. And some brands are responding and are pushing back on that mindset of overconsumption. So some of the newer things, I mean, we've all seen Opt Outside from REI. There are some newer trends like Green Friday instead of Black Friday, or Buy Nothing Day. Just some of these little catchy phrases that companies are starting to use, or consumers are starting to use, to kind of push back on that notion of just go crazy and buy everything because it's on sale. So some of the things that we've seen some of our smaller brands we work with and just in the industry do is you can go on sale, but don't go on sale more than you can afford to. Don't cheapen your brand. Have a promotion and communicate it well, but don't go crazy. Giving back to a nonprofit is also a great way to show your brand values during this time. It can be just for Giving Tuesday, or you can do a percentage of profits if you're financially able to for the entire time period. It's way easier for people to donate to a cause that they want to support when it's convenient. So, I really want to buy this pair of pants and they're giving back to this nonprofit that aligns with my values. Yes, I'm going to buy that now because then I can donate and get the item that I want. I think also for some of these brands it's really important to advertise the longevity of your product. One of our partners does a great job at doing this. They communicate buy it for life, timeless style versus something that's going to come in season now, and in the spring you won't want to wear it anymore. Really buying items that are more than just stuff. I think it's also something being more eco-friendly can actually help you stand out during Black Friday when there is so much noise about buying. If you have a different brand message, whether that's the give back or a sustainability focus that your brand is really passionate about, communicate that. Tell customers why they should invest in your product versus something that they can order from Amazon. There are a lot of different things that brands can do. It's just really taking a conscious mindset of how they're communicating your brand values and bringing customers in and building loyalty. I think one thing that was sparked in my brain when I was thinking about this was some of that give back. And a question I had was what if a brand just didn't do a promotion for Black Friday, and instead of being 20% off, they gave that 20% off discount all to a nonprofit? How would we respond to that as consumers? Would that be enticing? Would that help the brand with their bottom line? I don't know, but something that could be interesting to explore in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I love that point about standing out. I mean, brands, when we're doing our annual planning, even right now for some partners, we're thinking about next year's Black Friday stuff, right? How does it
Right.
tie in with everything?
Yeah.
Throughout the year. So as consumers, we're not planning that way as consumers, but what could we do to shop more responsibly?
Yeah, that's a great question, especially with how easy it is to shop online these days, and how trained we are to look for sales. I think really before we're going to see like a big shift in how Black Friday is positioned as far as overconsumption goes, it's going to take a really big shift in our consumer mindset in general, to truly make this Black Friday frenzy less about consumerism and more about choosing to support better companies. So I think, it still is on brands to do what they can to elevate this as a point of importance, and to do what they can from their end to combat this overconsumption. But really, that change is going to happen when consumers want to see the change. So we're trained to follow these promotional cycles, and that's totally okay, as long as we're conscious about what we're buying and why we're buying it. So like, we were talking, we shop Black Friday deals, but like hold yourself accountable, buy what you need, and don't get sucked into that mindset of buying something extra just because it sounds like a really great deal. Like big brands know how to market, and they know how to make you believe that you need something just because it's on sale. So try to not fall prey to that. Support sustainable and small brands when you can versus those that are like huge or pushing over consumption. Be more conscious about where you're spending your dollars. And then Black Friday can be a great time to actually enter a new brand yourself at a lower cost of entry. Or you can introduce friends and family to these smaller, more responsible businesses that they can support for years to come. We're all buying gifts this time of year. Why not support a smaller business that actually aligns with your own values and introduce that to your loved ones?
Totally. And I think some of that's already happening, right? There's, with Small Business Saturday, I heard that more than half the country is planning to be spending the bulk of their dollars on smaller brands that are more family owned, that sort of thing. So I think, consumers are getting more savvy with this stuff.
For sure.
And brands have to keep up with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, super interesting Black Friday year and curious what the next year holds.
All right, Leah, thank you so much for your time. It's always great to chat with you, and happy holidays.
Thank you. You as well, Eric.